In the mid to late 90s, I was a broke college student living in a tiny apartment above a very popular bar on Main Street, in a college town where I grew up. I took the apartment because I lived in the dorms as a freshman, and it was totally not my scene. The apartment was actually newly renovated, but it was so affordable because of the location. No one was crazy enough to live above a bar, except a broke college student like myself. The landlord did say an added bonus was the tenant received 10% off drinks and food, as a way for the bar to apologize for the debauchery, basically. So it was a pretty good deal for someone who didn't mind the noise at all hours. I was a pre-med student, so I was no stranger to late hours. I figured it was meant to be. I toured the apartment on a Monday, signed the lease, and started moving in that afternoon. Though the apartment wasn't anything spectacular, I was really excited to make it my own. Within a few days, that excitement changed to regret. As I was moving boxes in that day, my parents were out buying me a small twin-size bed and sheets. My bed at home was a queen size and definitely wouldn't fit in this apartment. When they arrived with the bed, they of course checked the place out from top to bottom. "Eddie, did you see this? I wonder what it means." "Johnny, 1989/1992, my mom yelled from the bedroom closet. "Yeah, I saw that too. It's probably his little mark on the apartment. He must have lived here during those years," I said. I would later find out I was technically right. "Whoever Johnny was, I thank him for moving out so you didn't spend another year in the dorms," said my dad. I went a little stir-crazy in the dorms the previous year. There was nowhere to study quietly, and pre-med courses were intense. Once my parents dropped me back at the apartment after dinner, I called it quits on unpacking for the night. I didn't have a couch yet, or even a recliner, so I pulled up a fold-up chair my parents brought and watched some primetime TV. It was the mid-90s, so I wasn't exactly sitting there scrolling social media on my smartphone. I went to the kitchen a short while later to get a glass of juice, rummaging through a box to find one of the glasses my mom had picked up for me when I decided that I wasn't going back to the dorms. I was just about to pour the juice out when the glass moved a few inches back, almost as if someone pushed it to mess with me. I thought I imagined it, so I grabbed the glass and firmly moved it back where I had originally put it. And this time, right as I was about to pour the juice, the glass moved about 2 inches to the right. "What the heck?" I said out loud. Trying again, the third time, I was able to pour my juice without the glass being yanked away. I was still trying to figure out what happened on my way back to my chair, and as I sat there watching TV, I couldn't help but let my mind wander to the possibility of a ghost. But I talked myself out of it. There had to be another explanation. Maybe the countertops were slanted, and it was just a coincidence that the glass moved right at the exact moment I went to pour my juice. I started dozing off in that fold-up chair, so I figured it was time to go to bed. I shut off the TV and turned off all the lights before retreating to my brand new bed. Dozing off to sleep, I couldn't wrap my mind around the juice glass. But I was really exhausted from moving boxes and furniture all day, so finally, sleep won. I don't know how long I was asleep when I was woken by what I thought at first was music from the bar. But the music started to sound staticky. As I woke up more, I realized it was coming from my living room. There, the TV was on, full blast, on some channel of all static. After I turned down the volume and changed the channel, I turned the TV off, headed for a glass of water, and then back to bed. The next day, I had a few classes, so I wasn't around the apartment much until late afternoon and early evening. I decided to order food from downstairs and bring it up. I figured I might as well try the food early on so I knew if it was worth the loud music all night for the discount. I ordered just a standard burger and fries and bought a few bottles of Pepsi to bring upstairs for the rest of the week until I could get to the grocery store. As I was eating the burger, which was in its separate small to-go container, I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned my head, and the bottle of Pepsi I had opened with dinner was slowly tipping over. Thankfully, it wasn't open. It was the way it was tipping over that was creepiest. It was as if someone was sitting or kneeling on the floor, tipping it towards them to drink out of. At this point, I knew it was paranormal. It had to be. There were far too many unexplainable events. The TV, sure, faulty wiring, it was an old apartment. But the glass moving at different directions when I went to pour juice, and now the Pepsi bottle tipping in a very controlled manner, it had to be paranormal. As I lie in bed that night, I was again thinking about all the events and trying again to chalk them up to coincidences or mishaps, but I couldn't. About an hour later, I was nearly asleep finally, when there was a commotion, for lack of a better term, out in the living room or kitchen. Sprinting to see what was going on, I froze when I saw a man sitting up on my folded chair, but he had apparently knocked over the box that I had sat next to it until I could get an end table. "Hey, get out of here! Are you crazy?" I yelled. But as soon as I finished my sentence, the man disappeared. I found out a few days later from a regular at the bar downstairs that a man named Johnny had passed away 2 years prior in the bar. He lived in the apartment, but since he didn't pass away in it, no one was legally obligated to tell me. Now I know I probably should have ran and never looked back, but once I adjusted to him, it was still better living with a ghost than it was living in the dorms, which says something. I'd probably have to agree with you. I'd rather live above a bar with a ghost or two than in some crowded dorms, but everyone knows I'm a germaphobe, so that's no surprise. Thank you for sharing your story with us. If you have a paranormal story to share, email it to the address in the description below. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. See you tomorrow, friends.